there, Don McGee again here from Royal LePage Atlantic. There's been a lot of words being thrown around out there about recession and another housing crash. But I just wanted to go over 5 things that are different this time around than it was back in 2008. First of all, the appreciation. Home value prices were jumping up around 11-12%. So people were experiencing a big increase in market value of their homes back then. Nowadays, the past couple of years, we have been experiencing market value increases, but it's only around 5 to 7%. So now keep in mind, the higher the percentage, the harder you fall. So we're looking pretty good that way. Second of all was mortgage credit availability index. That was incredibly high. That was up 800, 900 points back then. Right now, since the crash and since a lot of the mortgage changes were put in place to have stricter guidelines, we've been sitting around between 100 and 200 points for the index. So a lot harder to get mortgages and credit nowadays, so which is a good thing. Back then also the inventory, it was a buyer's market back then. There was like 11-12 months worth of inventory for buyers back then. So they had lots of choice, which drove the sale price down to a degree. But nowadays, going into this pandemic, we have been looking at a 3 to 5 month inventory, which puts us into a seller's market. And it has been that way for a couple of years now. So with that demand still there, we don't expect that inventory to suddenly bounce back after the pandemic. So we're still going to be facing a seller's market when we come out of this. Thirdly is refinancing. Because credit was so available back then, people were refinancing their homes to pay off debt. They were refinancing to buy toys, go on trips. So they were taking the equity out of their homes and using it for non-appreciable items. So since then, the consumer attitude has changed about using credit for frivolous things or non-investment type items. So there's been a lot more sensibility with using credit nowadays because of the housing crash. So we're in a different position there. Lastly is the amount of equity built up. Because people were refinancing, they were taking the equity back then out of their homes. So they had no money, no investment built up into their homes, so it was a lot easier to walk away. Whereas nowadays, a lot of folks are paying off and paying down those mortgages, so they have a good investment in their home. They could be sitting on, $100,000 worth of equity on their home, and that's a lot more difficult to walk away if you get into financial hardship. So you're a lot less likely to let that go back to the bank nowadays. So those are 5 things that are different from the housing crash back in 2008. So be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll be around for a lot more great real estate content. Take care.